So then the first and the most easiest compounds you're going to take a look at, and you probably remember this from your O levels and IGCSEs, is that alkanes are what we call saturated hydrocarbons. And what is by definition hydrocarbons? Compounds of carbons and carbons and hydrogens. Carbons and hydrogen only. And what does saturated mean? Saturated means that all carbon-carbon bonds are single. And basically, they are generally unreactive. So if you ever want unreactive organic molecules, they tend to be what you call it, alkanes. That's what they are, right? And there's some basic ones that you guys study, and not this. Come on. So what do I have? I can't remove this link. Come on. Okay, so some of these simpler ones I've seen before. I've shown that to you. I'm just pasting them. I mean, we can just quickly browse through them. These are easier ones. You got you've seen this before. Ethane or ethane, methane or methane, ethane or ethane, propane. And what you see here is the ball and stick diagrams that show their bonding. So this is your tetrahedral layout that I'm showing you. Okay, and then you can learn up to 6 to 7 to 8 carbons. You got propane, butane, pentane, hexane, right? So meth, prop, and then you got 4 carbons is butane, 5 carbons is pentane, 6 carbons, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is hexane. Okay, and then not just that, you also have cyclo compounds, right? So you got the 3 carbon cycle and the 4 carbon cycle and the 5 and the 6. You saw all of this when we were naming them. So these are not something new. You've already seen this kind of stuff before. These are all saturated hydrocarbons. Please note that not all alkanes have the formula CnH2n. So when somebody says define an alkane, you will not say they have a formula CnH2n plus 2. You'll say they are saturated hydrocarbons. Because when I look at the molecular formula of propane, it might be CnH2n plus 2 and hexane is C6H14. But when I go to cyclic alkanes have the same molecular formula as alkenes do. So if you remember C4H8, it was also the same formula for butene. C5H10 is also for pentene and for cyclopentane. So many times in a question you can get the formula C5H10, and only from chemical properties can you know if it's an alkane or an alkene. If I say I have a C5H10 and it's not saturated, then you will say it's an alkene. If I say it's C5H10 and it's saturated, you'll say it's an alkane. So that part is important. Okay. Then the other property, because they're hydrocarbons, generally speaking, when I look at these guys, when I look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 or whatever, how many carbons I have, they all are non-polar, sorry. So all of these guys are non-polar, okay? And as the number of carbon atoms increase, so that's the next part, the physical property bit. So for alkanes, the next bit we'll talk about is physical properties. Now, what kind of physical properties we talk about? We talk about their IMFs, basically, which will determine 2 things. Will determine their BP and MP, melting point and boiling point, and it'll determine their solubility. Okay. Now, because alkanes are non-polar, you know, what kind of intermolecular forces will alkanes have? First of all, we've done that before in bonding. So when a compound is non-polar, what kind of intermolecular forces do they have? Well, alkanes intermolecular forces are induced dipole, temporary dipole connections, you know, or instantaneous dipole, induced dipole attraction is the intermolecular forces for alkane. And therefore they have low melting and boiling point, and their solubilities are, they are insoluble in water because water is polar, but they are soluble in non-polar solvents. And in fact, large alkanes like hexane are liquid, therefore they can also be, therefore they are non-polar solvents themselves. Any questions about this so far? Okay. And as the number of carbon atoms increase, the boiling point increases. So as the number of carbon atoms increase, boiling point increases. Now this is methane, ethane, propane, and so on. And why does that happen? Because as you go along this group, the number of electrons increase. Therefore, the strength of induced dipoles, instantaneous dipoles, attractions increase. So as the hydrocarbons get larger, the number of electrons increase. That means the strength of induced dipoles, instantaneous dipoles increases. Okay? That's something to remember. Any questions so far on this?
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover at Alt Academy, where we break down every A-level concept with the same clarity. Now back to the video lesson.
Now, the next thing we're looking at is branching and its effects on boiling points. Now, I can give you isomers of C5H12. One of them is pentane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other one is methyl butane, and then you have dimethyl propane, like that. All three are the same molecular formula, the same number of electrons, but the boiling points of each of them are different. This is the highest and that is the lowest. And what you recognize is that across this list, as branches increase, what do you observe? What happens to BP? Boiling points and melting points decrease. Okay. Do you see that? And you might be like, okay, why is that the case? Well, very simply speaking, a concept in what you call it, attraction. So what happens is this. Let me show this to you. So either your molecule is a very long molecule, and this is just a concept, then I'll apply it to what I just showed you pehle. But let me just put this out there. So here I have two sets of molecules. On the left there are blue molecules. I have two blue molecules, and on the right I have two purple molecules, and they get closer and they attract. So these purple lines are your attractions. Which attractions? ID attractions. Okay. Now the attractions depend on the surface area. So if you can get closer and you can stick more, then you're going to have stronger attractions. So when the molecules are longer and have no branches, you'll recognize more and more surface area of the blues can touch each other. But in the purples, there is less surface area of contact. Like for example, only this area is really touching each other. But in the blue, a lot more area is touching each other. So the more the touching area, the more chances of making these bonds, the stronger the bonds. So longer molecules have greater surface area for attraction. Now, you might say, well, what does it got to do with this that I showed you? I'll tell you. What I showed you was talking about this table. I'm going to show that to you again. One more time. So when the three molecules I showed you, pentane, methyl butane, and dimethyl propane, when many of these molecules stack up, these are the three molecule types. of the three types, which have the most surface area of contact between each strand. Now what do I see here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 molecules. Now amongst the three, the left one is unbranched. It's straight chain pentane. Okay. The middle one is methyl butane, pentane. The middle one is methyl butane. Sorry about my writing today. It's gone to the dogs. So suddenly I have one branch, and now look at the area of contact. Which of these has more tighter packing and stronger, closer area of contact? Clearly the one that is not branched. So when you have less branches, you have greater area of contact, therefore you have stronger intermolecular forces. And when you have most branch, you have the least amount of attraction, and therefore the weakest intermolecular forces, therefore the lowest boiling point amongst the three. Okay? You follow this? Even in Kelvin terms, just to tell you, in Kelvin terms, the leftmost fellow has about 309 Kelvin. The middle fellow is 301 Kelvin, just a little less, but less nonetheless. And the last one is 283 Kelvin. So the same number of atoms and electrons, the branching reduces the boiling point. And this is important for you to remember. You have to know that. And by the way, because this is low boiling point, this is easier to vaporize. Which means if I ask you, of the three, which is the easiest to burn, which will the three will be? Left, middle, right. Of the three, which is the easiest to burn? Absolutely right. The easiest to burn is the one that has the least intermolecular forces, because then it can easily separate into gaseous molecules and then just burn away with oxygen gas. So the molecule on the right is the easiest to burn. And by the way, when we say high octane fuels, you know the difference between high octane fuels and normal fuels? Petrol, high octane petrol and low octane petrol. The high octane petrol means it has more branched octanes. That's what it means. So faster to burn. That's why they say high octane fuel burns faster. If you want to race with anybody on an open road, you put in high octane fuel versus the regular supreme fuel, because high octane burns faster. Because less attraction, easier to burn. Less packing, it's open, free to move more. Hey there. If you found this A-level chemistry lesson helpful, why don't you head over to our website, altacademy.org, where you can sign up for the full A-level chemistry course. In addition to chemistry, you can sign up for physics, biology, math, or 4 other A-level subjects. Thousands of students have already taken the leap. What are you waiting for?